An interesting thing that I was thinking about is the fear. So I was thinking how I couldn't speak at that first boutique show, and how the fear comes up, and like how I'm like learning to be with that, and noticing that, starting to really recognize fear, so that I don't, like, it's there, but I don't have to be frozen by it. And in fact, I have my fun techniques now. I was saying that I wiggle my toes, or
as we were getting ready to come out, Eileen was back there wiggling her toes, which to me was very Samantha in Bewitched. If you remember that character, I really love that. I'm going to try that from now on.
No, but it's like, I know that what happens to me, and I've come to understand this, when I freeze. So people either go into fight mode when they're in fear, or they fight, flight, or freeze. I freeze. I just, it's like my brain doesn't work. I get scattered, I get confused. That's why I couldn't give a keynote talk.
Right.
It's one thing to dialogue and to bounce off each other, but, to actually
Except
keep
you
my
could,
thoughts
if it mattered. Like if there
scattering.
was, I just know this, if there were some sustainabilit goal that were over
maybe.
there, but you had to give a keynote over here to get there, you would do it.
Maybe I would.
You would.
Yeah, I would try.
But, with fear, I'm trying to remember the expression now,
Fear.
but there's this amazing expression that's something like, don't let fear become a thief, because it will steal so many precious things. And I love that. And you were asking before about the difference between shyness and introversion, and it really is about that, Like, so introversion is much more about just preferring lower key, quieter, more chill environments. It's about a lot of other things besides, and you could talk about it neurobiologically, but basically that's what it is. And shyness is much more about fear and discomfort, and being
so I'm more
easily
shy than an
embarrassed.
introvert, in other words.
Do you feel not that the introvert part doesn't describe you as well? It's more the shyness piece?
Both, but I think the shyness piece is stronger.
Yeah.
For me. I think that the fear piece,
Right.
It's funny because lately I've been starting, just in the last few months, saying, maybe I'm not an introvert, because I'm talking so much more, and I'm feel more engaged, and I'm interrupting people.
Yeah.
Like I never interrupted people in my life,
And that's now that you're letting go of the fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I know, and I don't know. I think the fear thing and the shyness is so confusing because, so like at Quiet Revolution, which is the mission that we have organized around the ideas in my book, the idea of unlocking the power of introverts for the benefit of us all. We really are grappling there with shyness as well as introversion.
Right.
But shyness is so much trickier because it is truly unpleasant, you know, and when you have it in its extreme, it can be even crippling.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I really believe that it's a kind of civilizing force, and that as a culture, we could all stand to be a little more shy, you know, because what is shyness really but caring so much about what other people think? And so it's paying respect to other people tacitly, you know, it's saying, I care so much about what you think that I'm giving you maybe too much power to ruin my day. But, you know, I think that's a kind of implicit respect.
Ooh, that's making me think of how many times I did that. Give other people too much power to ruin my day. Like I had this kind of aversion to loud people or people who like were sure they were right or spoke very loud or strong. I would do that freeze thing. You know, I would shut down. I couldn't. I was even actually thinking I wasn't going to talk about this, but about my ex-husband. We're good friends now, so I can talk about it. But he was strong and very definite, and I would become weak around him. I couldn't fight. You know, I couldn't stand up for what I thought was right. Even for my kids, I would just, you know, even when I really, really cared, I was just, something would happen where I would just, like, my brain would freeze and I would shut down. And it happens, I mean, it's something I've struggled a lot with. And so I'm noticing, what I'm really noticing is what I was talking about, the fear. I'm really noticing it. I'm starting to really experience it, notice it in my body, and be able to be with it. So like, okay, like I'm afraid. So that's okay. And then, so what does that mean? And what do I do about that? And that when I notice that, then I can breathe or make a different choice or calm down. And I notice that, like I used to, even till a few years ago, I'd see my ex-husband, and just the sound of his voice would do that same thing again, just like that shutdown. Now, I see him and it's gone. It's the
Wow.
Like I can talk. I'm like completely normal, no problem. Like it doesn't trigger me anymore. I did a lot of other kind of work. I did some work around trauma to kind of deal with that, but it really freed me up. So now I'm noticing that I can sort of be with kind of the fear and still step up. So